Okay, in this video we are going to implement a code to calculate the factorial of a number using the C programming language. Okay, so we will use a for loop to do this. We will iterate through the number from 1 to the n, the actual number to calculate the factorial we want to calculate. So using a for loop we will do this. I know this is a very basic and inefficient solution, but it is quite good for beginners, right? So let's get started. We will start by implementing or including the header files. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so we are going to now declare the main function. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so let's print welcome message into the console. Okay, okay, so we are going to use a printf function. Welcome down to calculate the factorial of a number. Okay, so we are not forgetting to integrate a new line, and we are going to now declaring the variables necessary. Okay, so let's start. Okay, first of all we need a factorial, and we need to store the factorial into an unsigned variable. Okay, signed int, sorry, we should use a long int to store more value. Factorial. Okay, we are going to initiate with 1 because if we use 0 here we might get wrong answer. Okay, then we are going to implement another variable int n. We should call this n. Okay, now let's ask the sorry ask the user to enter, okay, enter the value of n. So use a printf function to do this. Please enter the number to calculate the factorial. Okay, so we are using colon and sorry, we're not using ruler here. Okay, so now let's get the value that the user has given to the function. Okay, so we will use scanf for this purpose. Okay, modulus d for an integer, and we're going to send the value into the address of n. Okay, so moving forward, and at this point we're going to calculate the actual factorial, right? Okay, so okay, for int I, int I equal 1, I less than or equal to n, then I plus plus. Okay, we are using a variable called I to actually store this. What? Okay, something's wrong actually. Okay, just a second. Okay, so we are going to factorial, okay, and then multiply and add I, okay, and the last, so let's move down a little bit. So we are going to print the factorial, okay, let's print the factorial. Okay, integer variable we should keep here, and a long variable, okay, long integer I should say, then n, then the factorial itself. Okay, so what we are actually doing in this program, okay, first of all we are actually including the header files necessary to write or get input from the console itself, okay, then we are declaring the main function, and then we're printing a line into the console to make sure the user has seen this message, and we are actually welcoming the user in this program, okay. Then we are actually uh, declaring two variables. Here I use unsigned long int factorial because we need unsigned variable because the factorial won't be negative, okay. And we are using a long int because if we use long int we can actually store more data than a normal int, okay. And factorial can be very big, so we are using a long int, right? So we set it to 1 because if we set it to 0 in the for loop, that is no matter how many numbers we actually multiply with this, the result will be 0, and we do not want that. That's why we set this to 1. Okay, then we ask the user to enter the number to actually calculate the factorial, right? Then we are getting the number from the console and setting it into the variable called n. Then we are using actual for loop. Okay, for loop is needed to calculate the factorial, right? We are iterating through 1 to the number and the number itself by using one increment at a time, right? And then we're actually we're actually multiplying the number with the previous number we have multiplied, and then store the multiplication result to the factorial variable. This statement is like that. If I explain it a little bit, okay, factorial equals factorial into I. This this statement is actually a short form of this statement, and these two are really the same, okay. So there is no difference. I can use either of that. I use this because of simplicity. It looks much cleaner than this one, right? So I used this variable. Okay, after using this for loop we got the factorial, okay. So we need to write this to the console, and that's why we use this print function. We are using this print of function, the factorial of percent %d. Percent %d means we are actually printing out a integer variable because this int here is an integer, okay. So we are printing integer variable to the console, and then we are using percent %ld because this factorial variable is a long integer, right? So to print long integer we used ld, and that's it. That's the simple program we have made, okay. So we're going to now test this out, right? So let's run this, okay. Okay, we have made a mistake, I think. Yeah, this here we used to print, not the printf, so we should use printf there, right? So in the console we should clear another console, okay. Console is clear. Let's try to run this again, and it is asking us to actually give the number. So we are actually going with a very low number because you know that if we give it a high number, then the long int might not be able to store all that value because you know long int is 64-bit long, and the factorials of number is generally very long, very big, right? So it might actually exceed the limit of int variable and can cause overflowing, okay. So we are actually giving it a very low number, right? 12, okay. So let's press enter and see what it does, and it gives us this result. So we should now test if it is actually working. That's our calculator. Okay, we are clearing it, and 12 factorial. Yeah, that is 100% right? 479,001 and 600. 479,001 and 600. So our code is actually working really good. Okay, there is actually very much edge cases in this program. If we implement 0 there, and it might go wrong, right? And we know that the 0 factorial is 1, but it will show me 0 because of this is a, there is a this program is actually not capable of carrying the edge cases. Also, if we implement a very high number, it might actually exceed the capability to store the number to the actual memory, right? So this program is not capable of actually calculating large factorials. Also, if we implement negative numbers, it will show us irrelevant results, and we know that the negative number that the factorial of negative number is actually not calculatable, right? So there are much edge cases in this program, but as a beginner we will actually skip this to make this keep simple, and we will implement and care about those edge cases in the future videos, right? So till then, take care of yourself, and thanks for watching. If you like this video, and you should subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. No more today. Assalamu alaikum.